She hadn't said a word yet. She didn't need to. The moment she stepped through those precinct doors, one officer decided he already knew everything about her. He was wrong. Dead wrong. In the next 10 minutes, his entire career would collapse, and hers would rise from the ashes of his arrogance. Stay until the end, because the twist at minute 6 will make you re-watch the first 30 seconds. Before we go further, hit subscribe. This story only gets heavier from here, and you won't want to miss what happens next. The rain hadn't stopped all morning. Maya Carter stood outside the 14th precinct, badge tucked in her coat pocket, unseen, unannounced. That was how she liked it. She wanted to see the department the way it really was, not the way it performed for cameras. She pushed through the doors. Heads turned. Whispers started. Officer Danny Rourke leaned against the front desk, coffee in hands, smirk already forming before she'd said a single word. "Can I help you?" he said, voice dripping with condescension. "Visitors sign in over there." "I'm not a visitor." He laughed, short, dismissive. "Then you definitely don't belong here." The room went quiet. A few officers exchanged glances. Something in Maya's stillness unsettled the air. She didn't argue. She didn't raise her voice. She simply reached into her coat and placed a single folder on the counter. Rourke's smirk faltered. "Captain wants everyone in the briefing room," Maya said. "Now." Rourke frowned. "And who exactly are you to give orders?" Maya met his eyes for the first time. "You're about to find out." She turned and walked toward the briefing room, and the entire precinct followed, unaware their world was about to flip upside down. The briefing room buzzed with confusion. Officers filed in, exchanging nervous glances, unsure why a stranger in a rain-soaked coat had just given them an order, like she owned the building. Rourke lingered near the back, arms crossed, jaw tight. He hated not knowing things, and right now, he knew nothing. Captain Hale walked in, and stopped cold when he saw Maya standing at the front of the room. "Commander Carter," he said, voice suddenly formal. "We weren't expecting you until next week." Gasps rippled through the room. "Commander!" Rourke's coffee cup froze halfway to his lips. Maya turned to face the room, calm as still water. "I moved up my start date. I wanted to see this precinct before anyone had time to prepare a performance for me." Her eyes swept the room and landed, deliberately, on Rourke. "I like to see how people treat someone they think has no power. It tells me everything I need to know about how they'll treat people who actually don't." The silence was suffocating. Rourke opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time in his career, he had nothing to say. Maya continued, voice steady. "I've reviewed personnel files on the flight in. Commendations, complaints, patterns." She paused. "Some of you have a lot of patterns." Officers shifted uncomfortably. Somewhere in the back, someone whispered, "Oh, he's done." Rourke's face had gone pale. Maya wasn't finished. "Officer Rourke," she said. "My office. 5 minutes." He swallowed hard. Whatever was about to happen behind that door, it was about to change everything. Rourke sat across from Commander Carter's desk, spine stiff, hands clasped tight enough to turn his knuckles white. Maya didn't sit right away. She stood by the window, watching the rain streak down the glass, letting the silence do the work first. "Do you know why I chose this precinct?" she finally asked. He shook his head. 3 complaints in the last 2 years. All from black officers, all dismissed as miscommunication. She turned to face him. "You wrote 2 of those officers up personally." Rourke's throat tightened. "I was following procedure." "Were you?" She slid a folder across the desk. He opened it. His own handwriting stared back at him. Words he barely remembered writing. Words that, read back now, sounded nothing like procedure. "I'm not here to end your career, Officer Rourke," Maya said quietly. "I'm here to see if you're capable of changing it." He looked up, stunned. He'd expected a suspension, a transfer, not this. "You have 30 days, she continued. "Body cam reviews, community ride-alongs, direct supervision, mine. You're giving me a chance." "I'm giving you a mirror," she said. What you do with the reflection is up to you. Rourke sat in stunned silence, the folder trembling slightly in his hands. But just as he thought the conversation was over, Maya added one more thing, something that made his blood run cold. There's something else in that file, Rourke. Something about the day you almost put an innocent man in the ground. His face drained of all color. You remember him, don't you? Rourke's hands went still. He remembered. 18 months ago, a young black teenager, hands raised, backed against a wall that wasn't his own. Rourke's finger had hovered over his holster for 4 seconds too long. 4 seconds that haunted him some nights, and that he pretended not to remember on all the others. His name was Malik Owens, Maya said. He was 17. It was a misunderstanding, Rourke said, but his voice cracked on the word. He thought you were going to kill him. Maya's tone didn't rise. It didn't need to. And for 4 seconds, so did I. Rourke froze. What? I was there, Maya said, plain clothes, assessing the precinct before I formally transferred in. I watched the whole thing from across the street. The room seemed to tilt beneath him. You didn't pull the trigger, she continued. That matters, but you almost did, and the only reason you hesitated wasn't training. It was luck. His hands were empty. What if they hadn't been? Rourke's jaw clenched, memories flooding back, the fear in Malik's eyes, the way his own hands had shaken afterward in the locker room, alone, telling no one. I've carried that day for 1.5 years, he admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Good, Maya said. Carry it, let it change you, because the alternative, forgetting, is how precincts like this one keep producing officers like the one you almost became. She closed the folder. 30 days, Rourke. Prove to me the man in that locker room that night is who you actually are. He nodded, throat too tight to speak. But as he stood to leave, Maya said one final thing that stopped him at the door. Malik Owens is coming in tomorrow. He asked to meet you. The next morning, the precinct felt different. Officers moved a little straighter. Conversations dropped to whispers whenever Commander Carter walked past. Word had spread fast. She saw everything, and she forgot nothing. At 9 a.m. sharp, Malik Owens walked through the same doors Maya had walked through days earlier. Taller now than in the file photo, steadier, but his eyes still flicked toward every uniform in the room, old instinct dying hard. Rourke stood by the front desk, exactly where he'd once smirked at a stranger who turned out to hold his career in her hands. This time, there was no smirk, just a man waiting, nervous, unsure if he deserved this chance. Maya watched from the hallway, saying nothing yet. Malik stopped in front of Rourke. Silence stretched between them, heavy, unresolved, 18 months in the making. I didn't think I'd ever come back to a police station voluntarily, Malik said quietly. I didn't think I'd deserve it if you did, Rourke admitted. Another pause. Then Malik extended his hand. Not forgiveness, not yet, but something close to it. A beginning. Don't make me regret this, Malik said. Rourke shook his hand, steadier than he expected. I won't. From the hallway, Maya finally stepped forward. This isn't the end of accountability, she said, addressing the room now filling with officers. It's the start of it. This precinct doesn't get to hide behind good intentions anymore. Not while I'm here. She turned to Rourke. 30 days starts now. He nodded, and for the first time, it wasn't fear driving him. It was purpose. As Maya walked back toward her office, the officer who once told her she didn't belong finally understood the truth. She wasn't just commanding a precinct. She was rebuilding it, one uncomfortable truth at a time.